inordinate fondness for climbing trees, albeit she restricted such pastimes to when she was adequately out of sight from the court, and especially her mother-in-law. "Edward," she danced across the room, those almond-shaped eyes of hers a brilliant brown. "You promised we'd go riding." "I did." The king drew her close, and busied himself with ordering her veil. "Hoyden," he murmured fondly, and she grinned at him. Edward turned to Adam. "We can talk more of this matter later. For now, I must attend to my lady wife." "My lord." Adam bowed. Not yet 17, King Edward needed someone who now and then encouraged him to be the lad he still was, and his 2 years younger wife was an ideal companion on such escapades. Besides, Philippa was not only a playmate and a welcoming pair of arms at night, she was also the one person Edward felt he could confide everything to. "Her and John," he'd said to Adam, as recently as last night. "But John is still too much of a child." Since Prince John was not quite 13, that was probably a correct assessment, and Philippa was a keen observer of everything that went on at court. Only a fool would underestimate her, and Adam prided himself on not being a fool. He might be a minor knight, his education was not among the best. He could read and write, but not with sufficient fluidity to enjoy reading. But there was nothing wrong with his brain. The king and his wife left the room, holding hands. Adam returned to his perusal of the large map. He rubbed his face. Ever since the previous French king's death more than a year ago, in early 1328, Edward had kept a careful eye on the events in France. King Charles had left a pregnant wife, and when Queen Jeanne was delivered of a girl child, the French had unanimously acclaimed Philippe de Valois as their next king, causing Edward to seethe. After all, he was King Charles' nephew, a grandson of Philippe le Bel, and therefore he had as much a right to the French crown as did Valois, more even, seeing as Valois was the son of a count, while he, Edward, was the true-born son of a king. The French, understandably in Adam's opinion, did not agree. Unfortunately, the king's mother, Queen Isabella, did, albeit at present she advocated a cautious approach. "For now, we must keep Cousin Philippe happy," Queen Isabella had said earlier today. "Only once you have the superior forces required should you attack." God make that very much in the future, Adam thought. He had no desire to ride to war. At present, all he wanted to do was ride home to Tressens, the small manor just north of the Malvern Hills that was his home, and where his wife was soon to give birth. As was his wont these days, Adam sent a silent prayer to the Virgin, begging that she keep a protective eye on his beloved Kit. When Adam exited the king's large chamber, he bumped into his brother-in-law, Richard de Monmouth. As red-haired and blue-eyed as Kit, Richard was in many ways eerily similar to his half-sister, though Kit, thank the Lord, sprouted no beard. And where Richard's hair was a bright shade of red, Kit's was substantially darker, a rich shade, the colour of good Bordeaux wine. "Lord Mortimer wishes a word with you," Richard said, falling in step with Adam as they passed through the gate to the middle ward. Once out of the shadows, Richard stopped and lifted his face to the sun. Spring at last. Aye. At home, the ewes would be lambing, and knowing Kit, she'd be out in the fields with the shepherds when she should remain at rest. Twins. His throat clogged, and he cast a look at the chapel. A candle. No, 3 candles, one for Kit, and one each for those unformed beings resting in her womb. Richard elbowed him. "It's not the first time a woman is delivered of twins." "The first time my woman is." Childbirth was always a risk for women. God had ordained thus, and there was little to do but pray. Mortimer was pacing back and forth, dictating to one of his clerks. The long skirts of his richly embroidered robe swirled as he walked, revealing hose in bright green and a matching tunic beneath the purple and black of the robe. In silk, Adam would hazard. These days Lord Roger Mortimer was almost always in silk or velvet, as befitted one of the richest men in the country, one of the most powerful men as well, the new Earl of March ruling the realm side by side with Queen Isabella, on behalf of the young king. "Ah, Adam," Lord Roger brightened. "My lord." Adam reciprocated Mortimer's